Shalom and good day, brothers and sisters. I don't know if you can hear me, but I've been having great difficulties or technical problems, and I'm going to wait till someone can come in before speaking. Hopefully, someone will come in to the live. Okay, I see someone has come into the live. If you can do me a favor, can you let me know if you can hear me? Testing, testing. Okay, I see the volume level. Now, let me make sure everything is up to par. Okay, make sure that y'all can hear me. I'm try to get this closer. So, I'm going to share with you before we get into the mysteries and the revelations. I'm going to share with you how Satan has been trying to stop me from speaking and preaching, prophesying, teaching, etc. unto you. Because I want y'all to really understand that those who are working in this ministry, as y'all see, I don't know if y'all can see, Onyx done came up here. Okay, Onyx. Um, we go through, I'm just gonna speak in layman's term, we go through hell. And I can relate to a lot of the apostles, especially Paul, as well as the others, those who are his servants, we truly go through. And we are tested just like Job was, because what the Father is revealing to me, the enemy do not play fair. He wants you to get frustrated. I'm gonna say this again because I saw my internet. He wants you to get frustrated. He wants you to quit because he know of the anointing. He knows of the calling that has been put upon our heads. And the thing that he does not want to happen, he don't want us to win souls for our Father in heaven. So I'm going to share with you some things going through. Last week, um, it wasn't really my plan to do like a live session. I did a short video instead, and somehow by accident, through YouTube, it seemed like I was going to do, a video session. So my sister let me know that that she saw it. I said, okay, so to go with the flow of things, I said it would be good to come up and live to interact with y'all and to share the revelations, not only of the resurrection, but as the crucifixion. So people can get a greater understanding about the Bible. So no matter what direction I went to YouTube to do live, I went to my phone to do a live, and I went through StreamYard to do a live. The enemy would not let me speak. There was nothing wrong with my internet connection. For my son was using the internet and he was not having any problems. That was one thing. Then my back went out. Wasn't doing anything, was just sitting on a couch and my back went out. Then after that, a feral cat bit me on my leg. But just to let y'all know, later on, the feral cat got punished because something not only bit her, but took a wad of hair out of her neck area. Let me see what else. And then my car was shot. I have 2 bullet holes in my car and 1 major dent that may be have caused by a bullet. Yes, we've been having shootings in my neighborhood. Okay. Trying to think what else. And then trying to raise a 17-year-old when with the foundations that's being set. And what I mean is he was only with me for 8 years, but the other 8 years he was not raised by me. And y'all know for those who are parents will understand what I'm saying. So we have a lot of work to do. I'm trying to think what else. So as y'all see, a lot is going on in my life, and the devil is trying to trick me. I have seen it at times for y'all. I would scream, I would just cry, and I would just break down. But because I'm in the iron furnace, the iron, Iron, furnace of Egypt, it seemed like every trial and tribulation that I'm going through, I see the change that the Father is working in me. So I didn't scream, y'all. I didn't harden. I began to turn to my Father, and He reminded me, He said, operate the power and authority that I have given unto you. And that's what I begin to do, go into spiritual warfare. So what I'm saying unto you, if we have any problems in this live session, you know what it is. But I'm going to pray first because y'all need to hear the revelations that the Father want me to share to you, not only by resurrection, but by his holy word that deal with this holy week that we are in, the holy festivals. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, Father, I come before you to this day. I plead the blood of Yahusha HaMashiach upon this video live session. For you see that Satan is trying to shut me up, Father. He do not want me to speak, for he know what you put in me will convert many to come unto you. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Father, I bind every spirit, I bind every adversary that is trying to come against the word that you have put in my heart to speak unto your people, whether they are Israelite or Gentile. I pray that this word will go forth throughout the four corners of the earth, and that your will is done in this live section. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, amen. So be it. Okay. I just had to put prayer because y'all, we're in spiritual warfare. We have to know who are the hidden ones behind the scene. I'm going to take me a drink of water. At first, when that go down right. So let us begin. Resurrection Day. Blessed Resurrection Day. I know some say Happy Resurrection Day. To understand what the Messiah has done for us, whether you are Israelite or Gentile, whether you are a Jew or Christian, okay? Whether you are a Jew or Christian, your leaders, your pastors, or whoever you are sitting under to understand my Father's holy word are not telling you the whole truth, and they either are not anointed to give you the revelations, the mysteries, or they are anointed, but they're not obeying my Father like Saul did, King Saul. To understand what the Messiah was doing, because he told us in his living word, the Messiah did. He said that we have the prophets. Not only do we have the prophets, but I was looking for my Bible, y'all, but we have his word as a witness unto us. And what my Father in heaven, Abba, was teaching me to share with you, the Torah, what people call Old Testament, go in hand with the renewed covenant. Let me say this right. The Old Testament go in hand with the New Testament. You cannot separate them, because if you separate them, you're not going to understand what the Messiah is talking about, nor are you going to understand what Apostle Paul and Peter and all of them is talking about. In other words, you cannot separate the two. They have to be joined together, because Messiah told us these things. One bear witness to the other, and the other bear witness to the one. This is why many are not giving y'all the revelations. He also taught me that the prophets have the answer. And I got to get my Bible to give you that verse about the prophets. Now the Messiah talks about it too, with the man that was in hell and asking, could he come back and tell his brothers that hell is real? And he told him no, because we have the prophets, right? So let me get my Bible. There's a scripture in Revelations, because today in many assemblies, I don't care they are Jews, I don't care they are Christians, they do not have the setup that was given unto the apostles. They are leaving a lot of other offices out of the church. Okay. So let me go get I don't have to. The Father just remind me I have my phone. Like I see with the internet. The Father's reminding me I have my phone. So I can look it up on my phone. Going to the book of Revelations, chapter 10. Revelations chapter 10. Okay, now my internet is back on. Like I said, I've been having problems, y'all. Now my phone, if I go through my phone, but my phone is not working right. Okay. Revelations chapter 10 and verse 7. Are y'all there with me? Revelations chapter 10, verse 7. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God, the mystery of God should be finished, as he had declared to his servants, the prophets. If you want to know something, y'all, if you need an answer, you have a question, he tell us to go to his prophets. That's one of the office in the body. Every church, every assembly, every synagogue should have these five offices in among them. And the reason why I say among them, because we learn that we are the temple, we are the house, we are the ark that house the spirit of Yah, the spirit of God, which is the spirit of Messiah. And those five offices are, you can find this in the book of Ephesians. Okay. We should have pastors, and a pastor need a wife. Because when you go back to the beginning of the commandment, he said unto them, when he created Adam, that Adam should not be alone and that he should have a help meet. This is why a pastor needs a wife. It will eliminate a lot of confusion in the church. Okay. Then we have prophets, as well as we have a male prophet, we have female prophetess. There's many examples in the Bible. Marian, Huda, and Anna. We have examples in the Old and the New. Okay. Again, it goes back to Genesis. Fathers want me to let you know it goes back to Genesis. Not only Genesis chapter 1, 2, but also Genesis chapter 5. For the male and the female was called Adam. Okay. This is walking through the whole book to get understanding. We also have apostles. And to understand what an apostle is, go back to the book of Acts, as well as the gospel too, because the apostles are ordained to give someone the Holy Spirit baptism. The apostle is also ordained to perform miracles. Okay. And I'm thinking about Mark chapter, I think it's 14, the last chapter in Mark chapter 14. Okay. The apostles are like the overseer of the ministry. Okay. The overseer of the ministry. And there's males and females in that too. Then we have evangelists. Their role is to go out to the field, which is what? The world. To prophesy, I'm sorry, to preach that the kingdom of heaven is coming. They are to let the one that's out there in the world know to come on in. That's one of their roles as we're studying about evangelists. Okay. And then, and that's male and female too. Going back to the beginning, you got to understand the importance of operating as an atom, and the two complete each other. I see I'm having any problems. The two complete each other. That's my cat. Okay. Going back to Genesis. All right. There's a male component and there's a female component. Then the last one are teachers. We have male and we have female teachers. That is the order that should be in each and every assembly, church, synagogue, etc., that has come into the renewed covenant that our blessed Messiah established for us. As well as we have what? Bishops, and the bishops have wives. Go back and read those instructions. And we have deacons, and the deacons have wives. This is the order of things. This is what our Father ordered. Okay. That's why Paul said, let him be a husband of one wife. Because you cannot work in the ministry if you have too many wives because you're going to have things going on in your household that needs to be taken care of, and you cannot do both. Okay. Now we're going to talk about Resurrection Day. Today is EV 21st. It is the last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. My people will often call it the Passover as well, and proof of that can be found in the work of Josephus. Eve 21st. So when you see the holiday of the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, my people do not often separate it. They treat it as all together. The reason why y'all hear me being quiet at time, I'm just waiting for what the Father want me to speak next. So forgive me. So a day is a V21st. So he's telling me to give y'all the date so you can understand where we at, and you're gonna see how this relate to this word. And the V21st began on April the 19th, which was the Roman day Saturday at sundown, to April the 20th of the Roman day Sunday at sundown. It is the last day of the Passover holiday. When you look at the word holiday, it does mean holy days. Okay. Far as my father's dates and timeline of where we at from creation, my father's date, Yahuwah, is that he's in day 13. For 1,000 years unto him is a day. So Yahuwah, Abba, our father, who is the El, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his time is day 13. From creation, we are in the 12,493rd year. I want you to write these dates down because you can go back on the channel to get more understanding about these dates and why they are important. From Adam, we are in the 12, I'm sorry, from Adam, from the time that Adam was created on to now, we are in the 7,493rd year. As far as Enoch, 10-week prophecies, and you can read about that in First Enoch. And Father want me to remind you, if you want to understand the end times, it is very important that you get a hold of Enoch writing, for he is a prophet unto Yah. And those revelations, secrets, was given unto him, especially for those who want to get understanding of our Father's calendar. As well, there's other prophets in the Bible that will also give you understanding of his calendar. But far as Enoch 10-week prophecy, we are in the 7th week. The 7th week. And the 7th week will be ending soon, very soon, because soon we will enter in the 8th week. The 8th week of Enoch 10-week prophecy represent a new beginning. Kind of like spring, right? Spring is the beginning of our Father's year. And the month that we start in is Aviv. That's the beginning of our Father's year. With the fourth beast, the Roman Empire, they begin their year in January, in winter. And one of the things winter represent is dead. Things are not alive yet. They are dormant or asleep. So as you see the difference between my father versus Satan, my father come in life. He also come in light. Okay? Very different. Where Satan want to come in darkness, and Satan is the angel of death and destruction. Okay? So 8 represent a new beginning. It also aligned up with Jubilee. For we know the 400 years of Zion affliction, which are the children of Israel who dwell in America today. We have Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. Even the United States and the government recognize them of being in this land for 400 years under their affliction. For the Europeans are ruling now. And this is why now, because the 4 years been up, y'all, from 2019 to 2020. That is the year of our Father. Because when you understand our Father's calendar in comparison to Satan's calendar, which is Rome, his year will overlap into the Romans' years. Okay? So 8 is new beginning, and it goes along with Jubilee. 400 years. We have 8 Jubilees in 400 years. Okay? If I remember right. Make sure I do right. Let me do this right, y'all. We have a total of, make sure I do my math right. 5 times 8, that's 40. Let me see, 400. Okay, I am right. We have 8 Jubilees. 8 Jubilees. Because a Jubilee enter 50. And now we have seeing things popping off from COVID-19 to fires, flooding, sinkholes, tornadoes, hurricane, earthquakes, blood moons. Represent what? Judgment. He has not forgotten. And on a V14, which is Passover, which began on the Roman day from Saturday to Sunday, from sundown to sundown, which is April 12th to April 13th, the Gentiles recognized we had a pink moon, a full moon, because a full moon usually occurs on the Passover day and the Feast of Tabernacle day. All these signs taking us back what to Genesis. These 3 lights will be signs and for seasons, for days, for years. But no one is paying attention because they do not understand what is happening around them, for they are distracted with the things of the world, working, paying bills, raising family, etc. But those who are watching and praying, as our Messiah instructed us to, we see it. And those that the Father called to rise up and to warn the people, we are out here warning y'all that the kingdom of heaven is coming. It is time to get your house right. And the house I'm talking about is you. Either you're going to have the spirit of Yah, spirit of God, which is the spirit Messiah, in your heart, which is the belly, the bowels, where the soul dwells, where the breath of Yah dwell, in covenant to you. Covenant means married or joined. Or either you're going to have the spirit of Satan, This is First John chapter 3. We are in the days of Noah now. Time is approaching to an end. So the days I have given unto you, and when we convert the 7,493rd year to a Roman year, 2025 to 2026. Aviv 2025 to 2026. And some may go by the civil year. Civil year was the calendar that my forefathers used, Adam and all down, even after the flood, even in the days of Noah, but it was changed in the days of Moses. Read the book of Exodus. So some may go by the civil year and some may go by the Hebrew year. But it will be from 2025. Okay, we'll plug my laptop in to 2026. Okay, of the Roman year. AD or CE, which means common era, and common era is the year of their reign, the year of the Gentiles, or you can say the year of the Romans. Give me a few minutes, y'all. Looking for my cord. Can find everything else but the cord. Let's pray this is it. Look at that mind. Okay. Let me sure it's powered up. So now that you have the dates, you're going to begin to understand how close we are to the end. And when we think about end, because last night we had a good Bible study, we were studying more about why the seed must die. For I learned from my sisters that I fellowship last night, death is a beautiful thing. And some people don't see it like that because you have to come in the word. Okay. You have to come in the word. My sister pointed out to us that death is a beautiful thing because in the end, which is death, shall come forth what? Life. In the end, which is death, shall come life. Also, we can see witness of that in the heaven and in the earth. For the for the heaven lets the earth know when to change seasons. And we have 4 seasons. 4 represent what? Judgment. 4 represent the left, the door, which is Yahusha. For he is the door of the sheep, and he is the way and truth to life. No one can get unto the Father but through him. 4. 4 also represents Shavuot. That is the next harvest that is coming. Okay? The first harvest already came and went. That was the barley harvest that we're going to talk about more about the resurrection day. Okay? 4. I got to get my mind, remember what I was talking about. because sometimes I have things that will leave my mind, but it'll come back on what we was talking about. It's talking about 4. Oh yeah, about the date. Another date I need to give you, and this is in the Apocrypha that Ezra, the high priest of Israel, was given. But he was given the parts of the revelations or of the apocalypse that is coming that was not given to Daniel. Okay. And that's dealing with the age of the earth. For now, we are in the 2 parts. Okay. At the time of Ezra, he was in the half part, and then the 10 parts had already passed. And the Father revealed to me that is dealing with the age of the earth. For soon we are approaching 12,500 years. The 12,500 years are the 12 and a half parts that our Father revealed unto Ezra. So I'm letting you know how close we are. So when we do the math, we only got 7 years left. And he always give what? Confirmation. He always gives 2 or 3 witnesses. And there have been an evangelist I've been listening to that was given the prophetic word of the revealing when the Antichrist or Anti-Messiah shall be revealed. Okay. And this is how I know that is correct. I even found more information that many others too are leaning to 38, 32 AD. This is the time when our Messiah was crucified and resurrected. They are leaning more to that date than to 33 AD. So when you go look up that earthquake, you got to read the side notes. They estimate the earthquake that happened in Israel, which is Jerusalem, to 33 AD, but they're not for sure. They estimate that the earthquake that happened in Jerusalem is 32 AD. I mean that is 33 AD, and they are not for sure. But however, the Father gave us a sign that cannot be debated. And that sign deal with Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. But there was what? An eclipse that happened upon the earth. And this eclipse can only occur when you have a lunar eclipse. So NASA has the records, and I found the records, and that will confirm the date of his resurrection. I'm sorry, of his crucifixion and resurrection, 32 AD. And you're probably saying, why this is so important? Well, the evangelists that I've been sharing with y'all, you can go to the community page on the YouTube page, or you can go to what I call post page. She revealed unto us that soon the Antichrist shall be revealed either in 2028, yeah, sometime in 2028, for he shall only reign for 3.5 years, as mentioned or prophesied unto us in the book of Revelation. And there was a sign manifested in the earth, and manifested in the heavens. And that sign was in December 2020. For when you see Saturn align up with Jupiter, and I'm going to just keep this short because the channel have more deeper details, that conjunction, because many people thought that was the East Star. That was not the East Star. The East Star is the alignment of the planet Jupiter to Regulus. Regulus is the brightest star in the Leo constellation. Okay? So the world ignorantly was calling that the East Star, which was not. That was the sign in heaven to let us know that the anti Messiah or Antichrist shall soon be revealed in the earth. The Father always gives the signs in the heavens first, and then it manifests itself in the physical in the earth. This is why I say that when you understand that heaven and earth go in hand together, the same thing with the first covenant and the second covenant go hand in hand until you understand these divine relationships. You not until you understand that first. Remember what the prophet, remember what our Messiah told the high priest Nicodemus. How can you understand the heavenly things if you do not understand the earthly things? So all those parables that our Messiah left unto us, most of them deal with what? Agriculture. And when you hear agriculture, that should remind you about Genesis, because Adam was created to what? To sow the earth. This is why the Father blessed it holy calendar of those three lights working together to form one calendar unto us. This is why um, it relates heavily into agriculture. This is why you see the Gentiles producing a magazine called the Almanac. And when you go in that magazine, the Almanac, you're gonna learn that they too look at the heavens. Also, those who have a copy of the King James 1611, you will see them too using the sun. Oh, was it the sun? No, you're gonna see them too using the moon as well as keeping up with the sun and what sign that the sun enter in. For there are 12 signs, which is Mazzaroth, that the sun enters in. And most of us know what those 12 signs are because the Gentile named those 12 signs, such as Leo, which I was mentioning before, Virgo, Libra, etc. Get you a copy of that 1611, and you will see there was a time that the Christians was using these lights too. But because they didn't have the full understanding of the revelations or of the mysteries, there are times they didn't get it right. For remember, when Constantine became a Christian, there was many changes that he did. Okay? There was many changes because when the gospel went forth, the Jews who did believe in Messiah fellowship with Christians. They fellowship as one together, and they was following the same holy days and the holy dates. But when Constantine became a Christian, there was changes. And through the changes that Constantine made, it fulfilled the prophecies that our Messiah, no, it fulfilled the prophecies that our Father in heaven spoke unto the children of Israel. He said, I will cause these holy days to cease from you because they was what? Lukewarm. They chose to mix both. They chose to mix what was holy that our Father gave unto them with what was unholy, unclean. They not, what in other words, they call themselves trying to worship him as well as other gods. And that's a no-no. So through the Gentiles, the Father was able to cease the holy days from the children of Israel because they changed the dates. They changed on how we should keep a memorial of these holy days. And how we know that is true, what do we see on TV and in the stores? We see the pushing of bunny rabbits and Easter eggs, but no mentioning of Messiah. We see the push of crosses decorated with Easter stuff. But when we go in the strong concordance, we learn that Easter actually means, I'm talking about in the Bible now, Passover. But when you look at the true definition of Easter, it was dealing with the deity of Ashtaroth that we can find in Judges chapter 2. For Ashtaroth have many names too. She is known also as Venus and Aphrodite. This is still with the Greeks and the Romans, for there's nothing new underneath the sun, y'all. And the Bible was teaching us that. Go in the book of Acts as well as the first covenant to understand what the Gentiles were worshiping. And what they was worshiping was Satan and those angels that fell with him, as well as those evil spirits. And a while back, the Father gave me a word about how they come in pairs. There's a male God and there's a female God. But we know the angels can change themselves into male or female. All right. And that one that I'm speaking of is Satan. For when you read the testimonies of Adam and Eve, when you read their testimonies, you're going to learn that Satan has the power and the ability to change himself into a male, and the power and the ability to change himself into a female. So that's why I said they come in pairs. So when you go into Judges chapter 2, not only do you see the name Ashtaroth, but you also see Baal, Baal. And as I'm saying that, that should remind you of another Gentile that worshiped Satan. That was Jezebel. She was the daughter of King Tyree. She was not an Israelite. So you had a Israelite king named Ahab to marry a Gentile. And you saw what happened not only in the northern kingdom because of her, but also in the southern kingdom. For she sent her daughter, well, because of political reason, one of the king's son who would be on the throne married her daughter. Mhm. Like I said, you cannot mix holy and unholy together. It's not going to work. So that was one of the things that the Father want me to share with y'all. Look, because the evidence there. The world is not worshiping the Father, nor are they giving remembrance to our Messiah that the world today called Jesus Christ. But they are worshiping another God or goddess. Okay? For all we see are what? Bunnies and Easter eggs. Okay? As far as the cross, go back to Deuteronomy chapter 28. For the Father had told the children of Israel that they would worship what? Wood and stone. That wood was what? The cross, what you having the Roman Christians pushing upon the children of Israel. You can see example. We're the witness of it. And their image of their God, a white deity, male. Mhm. And I have proof. Still to this day, that image is being pushed around. I think the Jehovah's Witness came and they left a brochure, and we had an image of a white Jesus Christ with straight hair and white skin. And you'll see why that is not correct, because the Bible don't say he has straight hair. The Bible doesn't say he has white skin. The Bible does say he has melon. When you go back to the Hebrew word Adamah and learn about that clay that Adam was made from have melanin in it. Even when you read the works of Enoch, for that darkness was red, and that red is a reddish brown, just as a red heifer, and just as the paintings that you see on the Egyptians, what tombs and walls. So when you begin to line up the truth that comes from the Bible, that false image that the Roman Christians was pushing upon the world and the children of Israel in Africa, that they enslaved and brought over here to North America is a lie. And even to this day, some of my people believe that image is Jesus Christ. So we have witness of these things. And those who lie and come against it, and I'm going to speak their names, such as Cav Malone and these people that's under him or with him, they are denouncing the truth. They are lying unto you. For the Bible do tell you what the children of Israel look like. The Bible do tell you what the Messiah looked like. Even the other sacred books will back it up. They did not have straight hair. They have the texture of woolly hair, meaning that their hair was curly. Their hair was black or gray. This is in the Bible. You can find answers to that. And they had melanin, reddish brown. We also know that melanin was given unto us as a gift from the Father, because when science will prove unto you that it was given unto us to protect us from the elements of the earth and the heavens. It is a gift. It is not a curse. Just like now, the truth is coming out about Ham, that we're not descendants of Ham. For the curse of Ham was actually dealing with the curse that fell upon his son, Canaan. And now we see why, because when you read the sacred books, such as Jubilees, that's something that the children of Satan don't want you to read. You will learn that Canaan was not to go into the land of Shem, for if they went into the land of Shem, they would be rooted out. There's a curse upon them. And one of his children, the Amorites, oh yeah, which relates to the 400 years, that the iniquity of the Amalekites have to come in their fullness, and they too has hidden themselves among the Jewish people today. So therefore, the Jewish people is not in the Jebusite Jerusalem; they are in the Amorite Jerusalem. Even my Bible dictionary would back it up. And this is why you have three religions fighting for the Amorite Jerusalem to this day. You have Roman Christianity. The reason I say Roman Christianity, it is unclean, it is profane, and it have the people of my father worshiping Satan. They're no different from the Greeks. They were going around Hellenizing people. The modern day word that they are using today is colonialism and imperialism, forcing their way of life upon my people as well as many other nations and tribes. The Romans are no different from the Greeks. So this is how I say Roman Christianity, so you can understand there is a true distinction. For I learned first about the holy days through a Christian church. And I think that Christian church we call what the true Church of God or something like that. And no, they was not melanated. I'm getting you. Ain't that ironic? As the Father was molding me and shaping me, because He didn't give me the knowledge of who I was in the beginning, but He was giving me the truth of what we was partaking in that was not right, because it comes from the Roman Empire, which today is the Roman Catholic, which is the Pope. They had combined their paganistic days with the holy days of my father. Okay. Then the third religion in the Amorite Jerusalem is Islam. This is why you see the gold dome there. That is their holy place of worship for their deity. But it has nothing to do with our Father and with His Son and with His Holy Spirit. But they don't believe Him to be a prophet. and not to be the son of God. I read the Quran for myself and you'll see it. It's in there. However, the Quran still point back to the children of Israel. It does. And then the ones that they call infidel are the what? Roman Christian, because they even know they're not following the word of God. And then the third one is Judaism. Modern day Judaism has nothing to do with the Bible or the word of Yah. Judaism deals with the Talmud and the Kabbalah. Now, there are different sects of the Jewish people, so don't put them all in one bucket. But what you see taking place in the Amorite Jerusalem, you're going to see what's taking place is the synagogue of Satan. For they do not follow Torah, and how I know have evidence and proof for that. They are now going into the continent of Africa, trying to convert my people to Judaism, when my people told them, we know who we are. They're telling them we are the bloodline. We are the descendants of the children of Israel, and we follow Torah. We don't follow Talmud. Go online, look these things up. These are evidence and witness unto you today, whether you are an Israelite or Gentile. And what I'm saying is not to call division among Adam, which is mankind, but what I'm saying is to give you the truth so you can wake up. Whether you have no melon, less melon, the perfect amount of melon, or too much melon, my Father will receive you, because even in Torah, you're going to learn that white is still clean unto him. Go back to Leviticus chapter 13 or 14. So when we get into the second covenant, our Father said, whatever his spirit has cleaned is clean unto him. That's in the book of Acts. I'm just paraphrasing it. So there should be no division with one that has no melon, less melon, perfect amount of melon, or too much melon. The covenant that the Messiah established for us is for all who want to come in. This is why the living word say Jew or Israelite, Gentile, Greek or Christian, male or female, circumcised or uncircumcised, bond or free, barbarian means, according to the Bible, you go to Strong Concordance, is those that can speak Greek. Well, for those who can speak Greek, they will look highly upon of. Did not the Romans copy what the Greeks did? What is the number one language? English. Going back to what? Babel. That's something for you to read about. And now you see why the Antichrist, anti-Messiah, has to be revealed. Everything's lined up. Or Scythian. Anyone, even children, who decide they want to partake in the renewed covenant or a new covenant that Messiah has established for us, they can come in while there's time. As you see, we don't have long. Okay? So now we just want to talk about resurrection. When we look at the Bible in its wholeness in the first covenant compared to the second covenant, we learn that Torah and the prophets will give you the date. So, as we already know, we have the Roman date when he was crucified and resurrected, far as the year, and that year is 32 AD. When I convert 32 AD to Adam's date, it took place in the 5,500 year from Adam. When I converted to creation, it took place in the 10,000 day and 500, in the 10,500 year from creation. And when I converted to Yah date, it took place in the 11th day of Yahuwah. Okay. So the 11th day of Yahuwah, and now we are in the 13th day of Yahuwah, which show that the 2 days that he gave unto the Gentiles to repent and to receive the gospel and to come in is a total of 2,000 years. And soon that 2,000 years is coming to an end so that the new beginning can come. And that new beginning that is coming is dealing with the Messiah reigning for 1,000 years, as written in the book of Revelation. And the saints are us who are in the new covenant now, which are Israelites, Gentiles, male, females, bond and free, circumcised, uncircumcised, etc., and the 144,000 Israelites. For we are most holies because we're going to live in the Father's house, the New Jerusalem. Okay? Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom has more to go through. They have to be given a new heart, and they have to be given the spirit of Yah, so they too can be grafted in the olive tree. So they will be staying in a land without the walls, and they will be protected by the cloud by day and the fire by night. But they have another part to play with the beast. Romans chapter 20, Daniel chapter 11. Okay? So now you have those dates of when his crucifixion and resurrected occur and why we are in the two parts that was given unto Ezra. Okay? Ain't it amazing what the Father is revealing unto us? So, how the Father was leading and guiding me are getting these dates. Not only did I follow Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, for the lights are the signs, and they would give us the dates as well. But Torah will also give us the date as well as the prophets and the New Testament. Okay? So to truly understand what the resurrection represent unto us, we have to go back to Torah. There are 3 holy festivals or feast days that deal with harvesting. The first one is barley harvest. The second one is wheat harvest. And the third one is the Feast of Sukkot, Feast of Tabernacles. Tabernacles deal with what? House, temple, tent, or Sukkot, which is booths, that how they made it out of a certain tree and leaves, reminding us of Exodus, how they dwell in tents. Okay? And the Father want me to remind you that when he gathered Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, that remnant of them, which is 2/10 deal of that way loaf that is talked about in Leviticus chapter 23, when he gathered them, the Moses tabernacle will come out, or where Jeremiah the prophet hid in it. To learn more about that, you can find it in 2 Maccabees and Jeremiah chapter 3. Okay? And once they transition They will no longer need that, for the Spirit of God would dwell in them. But they would become what? The house, the tent, the ark, the court that contain the Spirit of Yah, the Spirit of God. So that is the third harvest. And then after that third harvest comes winter. So as you see, he give us 3 seasons of harvesting. Spring, and spring is very important. It lets you know about what? Life, being revived, coming out of sleep, being awakened, no longer dormant, no longer dead, but alive. Then summer come. Summer represent the iron furnace of Egypt. So as we go through trials and tribulation, we become out perfected as the two-way loaves, where the bread would be perfectly brown and ready to be eaten. So therefore, just like the wheat has to transition from being green to being brown, for the water has to be removed from it to be dried so it can be prepared to be made into bread. Okay? That was summer represent. Summer also to remind you that hell will be hot and unbearable. So summer is a season as well as spring. All these seasons are to remind you that the kingdom of heaven is to come and that heaven is real and that hell is real too. So if you don't want to be in hell, then you need to convert and receive salvation that the Messiah made for us. Come into covenant with him. Okay. So summertime we are harvesting not only the wheat, but where is certain fruits, for they are ripened like the grapes. Okay. This is why the Father taught unto me there was a change in the days of Moses too, dealing with Shavuot. In the days of my forefathers, such as Noah and Abraham, they kept Shavuot in the 3rd month. But when the covenant was renewed with Moses, just like the Father changed the beginning of the year, he also changed the date of Shavuot to line up with his son, to line up with the number 4, to let us know there's judgment coming. Okay. And the Messiah will confirm that unto us when he said that in 4 months shall the wheat be ripened for harvest. And that 4th month, just as I'm researching, at this time we cannot find a Hebrew name. There is a Babylonian name, but it's paganistic. So for me, I'll call the 4th month that left, for it reminds me of the Messiah. For he is that door, and he is that way, and we must come through him. Just as there's a great door in the heaven, and in that great door, it is number 4. It aligns to his calendar as well. So that's the second season of harvesting. The third season of harvesting is fall. Okay. So Torah was teaching me to understand the prophecies that relates to the bride of Messiah, as well as to the northern kingdom and southern kingdom, the children of Israel, who are not grafted into the olive tree yet. Torah was teaching me I first have to understand these 3 harvests. Now I got to mention this. The 4th season, which is winter, winter represent rest because after your hard work of preparing for winter, because you know in winter, everything go dormant, they go asleep, they are dead, etc. You should have gathered enough from your harvest to get through winter. and winter is only for 3 months, according to my father's calendar. Winter also represent harshness and punishment, as well as judgment. So just as that parable that we hear about the ant and the grasshopper, how the ant is wise to prepare for winter. So the ant worked hard through these 3 seasons to gather enough food to survive the winter. But the grasshopper is foolish. He plays around. He gathered no food. And because he gathered no food, I think one parent said he would go to the ant. But for me, I'm going to change it. Because he gathered no food, he would die in winter and not see the new year. Okay? So winter often represent what? Rest, which is Sabbath, for those who have prepared, right? Did he not say, get your house in order? For those who have prepared shall enter into his rest. So they're going to benefit the inheritance that come with the kingdom of heaven. But those who did not prepare, that's the children of Satan, they shall go through the harshness of winter. Because winter has no mercy, no grace. It is harsh. It will freeze you. It'll be so cold where you cannot endure it and you will die. Meaning that the children of hell, the children of Satan, shall go to hell and they shall experience another death, which is the eternal lake of fire. Do you see how Torah or the earthly things, that's what Torah represents, the earthly things, how it's speaking unto us loudly about the heavenly things. So the Father had to take me back to the beginning. So the first harvest has passed, and that's the season we're in now. We're in the barley harvest. And the Father had commanded the children of Israel that a offering must be brought unto him before they can enjoy the fruits of their harvest. And that offering was called the sheaf wave offering. And the sheaf wave offering was dealing with a handful of the barley. And the barley has what, like little seeds, and it comes down in a stalk, okay, just like the wheat. And they will get a handful and bound it, and the high priest of Israel would go before the Holy of Holies, waving it before the Father. Now for the mystery and the breakdown of it. The barley harvest represented Yahusha, Hamashiach, and the saints. Who was the saints? It goes back, starting with Adam first, and all those who came after Adam, of that when the Messiah went down into Sheol, which is hell, he went there on what? Ephraim 14th, the Passover day. In the time of the darkness, in the third hour, which is what? The night hour. And we convert that night hour to Roman time, which is 3 p.m. That is the time when he gave up what? I don't say ghosts, because ghost is dealing with a spirit of a dead body. But I say he gave up the breath. What is the breath? Your spirit, which we call what? Your soul. And your soul came from the breath of Yah. Remember what? I think it's either ecclesiastical or the book of Proverbs or Psalms. It said that when we die, our spirit returns to the Father. Okay? But when the animal or his creature dies, they return to the earth. It's in there. Okay? So that spirit has to return to the Father because the Father is going to ordain where that spirit would go. It either would go into hell or it would go into the kingdom of heaven. But let us keep going. So we know that on the V14th, when he gave up the spirit, okay, meaning that that clay vessel, that earthly vessel that he was in, died. So the spirit returned, but his soul instead of returning to the Father because he had a great word. Thank you for reminding me about that, Father. His soul went down into what we call Sheol, which is hell, for he had to preach unto the captives for 3 days. So let me break down the 3 days because what the Father revealed to me, we are in Babylon, in the western part. And the western part is confused. That's what Babylon means. We do things backwards from the eastern part, which is the old world. And in the strong concordance, when I was looking up the word day in Hebrew, I was reading the strong concordance notes, and it was letting me know that a day does not pertain to 24 hours, but it pertains to the phases of the day. What is the phases of the day that I'm talking about? Daylight and evening. Going back what? To Genesis. Morning is dealing with what? Daylight. But when the sun came about, when he created that sun in the fourth day of creation, which is the 4,000 year, the sun is what gave us what? Morning, noon, and afternoon. Morning is dealing with the rising of the light, that light that we see in heaven before the rising of the sun. Keep that in mind. That's very important. Then, as the sun is rising, he is working his way. Yes, the sun is a he. He is working his way to noon. And the noon hour is the highest point in the heaven where the sun is up high, shining brightly upon us. So we can do what? Our work, so that we can fellowship unto God. We can see what we're doing. Then the afternoon hour, in which in Roman time they convert to 12. Okay. And I do want to say this daylight saving hours is not of Yah. That is of the Romans. They are pagans. So they're not giving you the correct time. This is why I rebel against it. I don't change my time in my car. Unfortunately for our devices, they change themselves. But what the Father teach me now, just as I'm looking at the time now, in the Roman time, they are saying it is 2:22 p.m. But in my Father's time, it is 1:22 p.m. when I convert it to Romans. And going even deeper, we are in the 7th hour. Okay? It is so good to know these heavenly things. All right. So once the sun reached the highest point in the heaven, which is noon, it began to what? Descend, come down. So in the Romans time, I had to give y'all the Roman time because that's what we're into it. The 1 o'clock and the 2 o'clock hour is still dealing with daylight. But when we get to the 3 o'clock hour, which is the night hour, unto the children of Israel, known as Hebrews, it is given over to even. For when you read the book of Jubilees, you will learn that from 3 o'clock all the way to uh, the 12th hour for the Hebrews, which is 6 a.m. Roman time, it's evening. And the Father does this because there's a daily sacrifice, which is the second one. Remember, there's two daily sacrifices that have to be offered unto Him, which occur on the same day of the Messiah crucifixion. Like I said, all these things line up, but it would give you understanding. And this is why not Levites, the Pharisees would say about this feast they had to go to. Is dealing with all the offerings that were brought on these holy days, like your free will offering, your Thanksgiving offering. Also, you have the daily sacrifice, one for the morning and then one for the evening. The one for the morning was offered in the 3rd hour of the daylight. And when we convert that, that'll be 9 a.m. The one for the evening was offered 3 p.m., which is the ninth hour for the children of Israel. And it all aligns up to the Passover event that goes with the Messiah crucifixion. For when he was nailed to the cross, the first daily sacrifice was offered unto Yah. Okay? Go back even a little further. In the 12th hour of the evening, he was before Pontius Pilate to be judged. And what the Pharisees knew that the first daily sacrifice, which is the lamb, had to stand before the altar. So that lamb was brought out in the 6 o'clock a.m. hour of the Romans' time. It had to stand, meaning it represent it had to be judged and make sure it's properly that is correctly offered unto Yah. Okay. So we talked about when he went on the cross, the third hour, which is 9 a.m. Then in the noon hour, that's when we have what? Darkness to come upon the earth. So the second daily fast, daily, let me say this correctly, the second daily sacrifice had to be brought out before the altar to be judged, to be criticized, to make sure it's perfect to be offered unto Yah. Do you see how these events lining up? And after it has passed the test or received its judgment, okay, that's the best way to say it. After it has received its judgment, it would be sacrificed in the night hour of the Hebrews, which is 3 p.m. in Romans time. And that is the same time when the Messiah gave up the spirit, the breath, so he can go into Sheol to preach unto the captives, so he can set them free too. Do y'all see how this all lining up? So now you begin to understand it's not based on a 24-hour period. It's these events that takes place. It's based on the phases of the day. And you're going to see what I'm talking about. See, over here in the West, we've been Babylonianized, Americanized, Hellenized, like the Greeks, right? We've been Romanized by the Romans, all right? This is why the children of Israel today do not have their heritage, meaning that we don't speak our language, we don't have our land, and we don't have our true culture, which is Torah, what was given unto us. Okay, I'm talking about in North America, South America, on Canada, and their islands. And this is why we do things backwards over here. Hold on, y'all. I gotta get my chair right. Okay. Now, are you seeing how everything has to line up with Torah? Torah is your first witness of these things. So if the Torah is your first witness, I'm talking about the old covenant, the first covenant, then your second witness will be the second covenant, the new covenant, or the a new covenant that the Messiah made for us. So all these things have to line up. That's how I know that I know that I know. Going back to Torah law, what he said, he would give you what? Two or three witnesses. So the heaven is a witness unto us, and the earth is a witness unto us. I know y'all see my little my cat Onyx. He was a rescued kitten, and I couldn't leave him out there because he was too young to survive out there on his own. But anyway, let us keep going. Okay, let me bring this down a little bit more. Do y'all see how deep this go? We got so much to study, so much to feast upon, but we got those who are blocking the way. But as the evangelist has told us, she said, Father is cleaning house now. So he's going to raise up his servants to give y'all the truth so you can make a sound decision. Either you will go to hell or you'll go to the kingdom of heaven. You have a choice. Okay? So the Messiah gave up the breath, the spirit, and he went down into Sheol to set the captives free. And when you read in Revelation, you learn that Jezebel would not repent. That's why she down there, because she rather serve Satan than to serve Yahuwah. Ain't that something, y'all? So all this happened on the V14. That's why I say a day happened within a day. We had light, okay, before the 6th hour of the Hebrew, which is 12 noon in Roman. Then we had darkness from the noon hour, which is 12 o'clock, which is the 6th hour of the Hebrew, that lasted up to the 9th hour of the Hebrew, which is 3 p.m. of the Romans. And when I do that correctly, because I said before in the video, I said before in this live stream, 3 hours, but when I do it correctly, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 represent what? 4 that this darkness lasts. And this darkness can only last this long only through a lunar eclipse. And that lunar eclipse is known as a total lunar eclipse. Even the Gentiles wrote about this darkness because they too experienced it as well. And they said also that they recognize this is not a solar eclipse because a solar eclipse does not last this long. So we have history backing up the Bible. And it also proved unto us that Passover, as well as the Feast of Tabernacles, usually occurs on a full moon day, which would confirm what is written in the Apocrypha, how the beginning of the month starts with the light coming upon the moon, which is the crescent. This is what Enoch even said too. And the middle of the month is when the moon becomes full. She either becomes full on the 14th day, which is what? Passover day, or she becomes full on the 15th day, which is the day of the Feast of Tabernacles. So y'all see how everything's lining up. Then they go on to say that when she has no light upon her, so that way the light is decreasing, right? That is the end of the month when she has no light upon her. And even first Enoch would back me up. So we have more witnesses that the Father's given us. He's given us what? History. He has given us the heavens. He has given us the earth. He has given us the scriptures. He has given unto us the prophets, as well as the scribes and the kings' testimonies. So it's too much evidence for confusion to come in. However, those who don't want to believe truth will rather believe a lie. We even have the works of Josephus and the works of Philo who would back up. Now, I'm aware of the translations. Even in the works of Josephus, it would say how stuff was mistranslated or number or error in numbers. However, there is still some truth in Josephus. And if you are walking with the Spirit of Yah, he will reveal unto you what is true and what is false. Okay. So one of the things that Josephus that revealed unto us, he said unto us that Aviv 16th is the day when the sheaf weight offering is offered. That deals with resurrection. We also have another witness that would confirm about the sheaf weight offering offered on the 16th day is looking at the manna. In Torah, dealing with Ezra, what did the Father command Moses? To save a remnant of the manna to be put in the Ark of the Covenant to remind the children of Israel. The Messiah breaks that down further in John chapter 6. Just as he fed the children manna, that was what? The bread of heaven. That manna represent the Messiah coming down, who is the bread of heaven. Let's go deeper. Torah also told us, and it's in the book of Deuteronomy, that man shall not live by bread alone. When you study the type of bread, that our forefathers was eating, you will learn that the ancient bread, and I can't remember what type of herb it came from. That type of bread had proteins, vitamins, minerals, and all other nutrients that man need to survive. In other words, he didn't need to eat flesh. Okay. And what we have today is contaminated. Remember what the Father said unto the children of Israel, you would eat defiled bread. Uh-huh. So the bread that we have today is not the same as what was in the past, than what was. And when you study that, you begin to understand why the Father would say unto us in the book of Deuteronomy that man shall not live by bread alone, but by the word that come out his mouth. And that word is Yahusha, Jesus Christ. Y'all see how the earthly component go in hand with the spiritual component. Just like we have to eat the herbs and the flesh, which are meats now. They are classified together as meat. The herbs and the flesh. Remember the change that took place in the days of Noah. He commanded us that now we can eat every creeping thing upon the earth. Okay. But for the Jews, because we are his holy people, we represent the sanctuary that goes around the Holy of Holies. Because we on because we are his holy people, we cannot partake in that. Therefore, we follow what the Father gave unto us. But for the rest of mankind, y'all can go by that commandment unless you want to come up higher. This is what Paul was talking about. Everything that Paul was quoting, he was quoting from Torah. Okay. Again, if you come in the whole Bible book, you will not get misunderstanding. There would be no confusion. This is why Paul say it's okay for one to be a vegetarian, because they were going back to the beginning, the first commandment before the change. It's nothing to argue about. Okay. If someone want to eat all kinds of animals, it's in that commandment in the days of Noah after the flood. But for a Jew or someone who convert to the ways of the Jews, it is okay for us to continue what the Father has given unto us. So there's no arguing about it. Okay. I just love Paul. 'Cause Paul understands the deep mystery of Torah. And it's okay if one want to come up higher with the Jews or what they partake in. It's okay. Okay. Because what the Father taught me is there's levels of holiness. Just like with the angels, only the seraphims can be around him 24/7 in the 10th heaven in his throne room. Okay. Only certain angels or his son can go before him in the throne room. Okay. Again, when you begin to study these earthly things, you begin to understand the heavenly things and why he had these orders set up. Okay. Oh, I ain't gonna reveal that right now. But those who have experienced spiritual things or heavenly things with the Father, you're gonna begin to understand. You'll understand other sacred things that's not revealed to everybody else. Okay. So he went down and preached to the captives for 3 days. And according to the prophet, especially Prophet Hosea cleared up. Because I know in the gospel, they translated the gospel from the Greek language. And I think it was Koine Greek, if I'm correct. But be in mind, the gospel was also in Hebrew, in Aramaic, as well as the Greek tongue. And it was also translated to other language like Latin. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind. But when you're dealing with the New Testament today or what we're reading from, it comes from the Greek. So you have to go back in the Greek language to get the correct definition. What does it actually mean? Okay. And then you have to compare that New Testament to the Old Testament to get the correct meaning as well. Okay? So you cannot leave out the old. If you do, you're going to misinterpret what the word is saying. But let us keep going. So on the read 14, the Messiah went down to Sheol to preach unto the captives. And those captives were, like I said, started from Abraham and on up, who had passed away before the Messiah gave up his spirit. But notice that with the thief on the cross, he told him, you would be in paradise with me. Okay? You got to read the works of Pontius Pilate, or the Acts of Pontius Pilate, which is really is the testimony of the high priest Nicodemus. Okay? So he went down during the time of the darkness. This when the doctors were saying. Father, also want me to remind you that we didn't have minutes and seconds back then. So whatever happened within that hour, it would be considered in that hour. For example, in the 12th hour, if the darkness occurred 12:15, it would still be considered in the 12th hour. I need to get that clear for y'all. Okay. So then we get to a V15. So on a V14, and that darkness fades, he goes down to Sheol, to hell. So that's a night. And then after the total lunar eclipse, then come light, right? I'm laughing because I'm just seeing the mysteries. So we have a night and we have a daylight on the V14. Then on the V15, that is the Sabbath. And the reason why it's called a high holy day, not only is it the Sabbath, but that is the first day of the feast of unleavened bread. And we know what the unleavened bread represents. We are to empty ourselves of the doctrines of the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Herodians, the scribes, as well as what is today. Empty the doctrines of the Romans, which is what the Roman Christians, or you could say Roman Catholics, or what comes from the popes. So we have seen how the Pope has blasphemed the holy word. And we've seen how they created their own days that does not align with the biblical dates. Okay? So they are out of order. So not only has we been, not only with that, we have the doctrines of the Europeans because we've been colonized and we've been imperialized. Do y'all see this? We also been Babylonianized. In other words, we are not following what has been instructed by the Messiah. Okay, coming in the whole volume of the book. Because the word told us that we would keep his commandments. To understand how to love thy neighbor as thyself, and how to love the Most High with everything you got, mind, body, and soul, you got to go back to the first to get the definition. For example, looking at the Ten Commandments, if you love him, no other gods will come before him. For there's many gods in the heavens and in the earth, and there's many lords in the heaven and in the earth. That's in Corinthians. Everything I'm saying to you is biblical. Okay. If we love him, we won't make graven images, right? If we love him, we won't say his name in vain. If we love him, we would keep his Sabbath day and keep it holy. And everyone in our would keep it. Or those who visit us would keep it. If we love him, Israelites, you will remember you once was a servant in the land of Egypt. So you will not treat people as the way the Egyptians treated our ancestors. Okay? If we love him, we will not commit murder. If we love him, we will not bear false testimony or be a false witness. If we love him, we will not steal from one another. If we love him, we will not covet what our neighbor has. Neighbor could be anyone, a stranger, Israelite, etc. In other words, we won't want what other people have. We won't covet. That's the definition of love. To go even further, I think it's in the book of Corinthians. If you love him, you will do charity. Like I said, we have to come in the whole body of the book to get the correct definitions of what love means and to understand how to worship our Father in heaven and how to give remembrance to his son. Okay? So the Sabbath day, a day of rest, and our blessed Messiah, and whereas this is high holy day, because we have two things going on: Sabbath day and the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So we will remove the doctrines of what the world put in us. We become flat, empty. So on that day of Pentecost, we will become like the two wave loads. We will be filled with the Spirit of God, and that Spirit of God is the Spirit Messiah. And because He is the door, the left, because He is the eye and light of the body, and because He is the fountain of the living waters, that's your iron, okay? He will bring unto us knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from the heavens. Do y'all see this? Not of the world way, not of Satan way, not of the children of hell way, or the children of Satan way. I mean, of the children of Satan, not their way, but dealing with our Father way, having His mindset. Begin to see what He see, and begin to hear what He hear. For we will know that when we have affliction to come upon us, that vessel has allowed or given an ear to Satan or to the fallen ones and to the evil spirit. So they're allowing themselves to be used by them. Proof of this, you can look at Cain. Cain gave an ear to Satan, and you saw what happened. He murdered his own brother. And that same ritual is taking place today among the elites, among the Illuminati. Okay. Look at Nimrod. He also gave an ear to Satan because in his kingdom, they built what? The Tower of Babel. Okay. And he was a great hunter, giving you the earthly definition. Y'all think of like animals, but the spiritual definition that was given unto Moses, that's written in the sealed book of Moses, that's found in the Book of Mormon. This is Northern Kingdom books. He was a hunter of souls. And guess who fought in his ways? Our brother Israelite, Esau, Edom. Okay. Now, I want to make this clear. An Edomite, a descendant of Edomite, can still receive salvation and come into the kingdom. Even a remnant of them will be here when you read the prophet's writings. But there will not be enough people to be a nation in the new kingdom to come. Remember, we have a new heaven and a new earth. And he too had melon, but his melon was different from Jacob and his parents. This is why his name is a derivative of Adam, but it's spelled different to let us know his melanin was different from his foreparents and his brother. Okay, but let's keep going. We also have the serpent. I forgot to mention the serpent. The serpent too allows Satan to enter into him. Proof of that is in Ezekiel chapter 28 and in the prophetic writings of Adam and Eve, first and second testimonies. Okay. We also have Judas. Judas allows Satan to enter into him to betray the Messiah. We have to see the hidden one behind the scene. That's why we have to get our Father mindset. So instead of fighting physically with them, we fight what? Spiritually. And that's what My affliction was teaching me that I gave unto you in the beginning of this live stream. We now have to fight spiritually. We now have to tap in the power and the authority that's in our hearts, that's in our bellies. And that power is Yahusha HaMashiach. But in order to have that, you have to come into the a new covenant. You have to receive salvation. Okay. You have to receive salvation. Hold on, let me make sure my okay, yeah, it's working. Oh, you have to receive salvation. Okay. You cannot do this on your own, for you are covered in flesh. You lost that divine body or that divine estate that you was once in. You are flesh now. Okay. So he was on the Sabbath day and the first day of the feast of unleavened. Remove those doctrines, brothers and sisters. Got to say that again. Down there preaching unto the captive. So he was there during the phase of the day, which is what? Daylight and night. Okay. So when we get to that third, and that's the V15. Okay. I think Exodus chapter 20 will back me up of what is the Sabbath day. And the prophet Ezekiel in chapter, I think it's 43 or 46, we're back what is the Sabbath day as well. So a V15 is a Sabbath day. And even in the New Testament, these events that I'm telling you line up to a V15 being the Sabbath day. And it's a high holy day because we have two holy um, festivals taking place, the Sabbath day and the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Then your third day is a V16, the barley harvest. That's way before the Holy of Holies. And that is the day when the Messiah resurrected in body, soul, and spirit. This is what people are missing. He resurrected in body, soul, and spirit. He regenerated himself. He was no longer covered in flesh. Remember, when he first came, he was covered in the blood and the flesh of the lineage of David. He was just like us. All right. But when he resurrected in a new body. Okay. That's when you study about why Paul say in 1 Corinthians 15, the seed must die. So he what? He died and he reached down and preached to the captive. But when he resurrected, just like in spring, when those plants and trees and herbs come back to life, they are anew. They are in a new body. Do y'all see this? Okay, I hope y'all see this. But if you don't understand about the parable of that why the seed must die or why we must bury our dead, there's a video on the channel that talks about that. Check that out. So he resurrected. He was regenerated in body, soul, and spirit. Okay? Meaning that he was no longer covered in flesh. He was covered in that divine light that our foreparents once had. So this is why he's called the second Adam. He corrected the first Adam mistake. Okay? He is showing us what we shall become in the wheat harvest. I'm talking to the saints now. He is showing us, oh, bride of Messiah and 144,000 Israelites, what we shall become in the wheat harvest. Okay? Body, soul, and spirit. And after he resurrected, this is Matthew what, 28. All our forefathers, Adam and all of them after him, resurrected too in body, soul, and spirit. And they was a witness unto the children of Israel and unto them Pharisees. But you know what? They still rejected the truth. The Pharisees did. And they did everything in their effort to try to conceal this information. However, the Father allowed the testimonies of Nicodemus and the Bible, all of those to survive these many years, to be a witness unto us. And how we know these things are true, there are signs in the earth that let us know. We have the ruins or the remains of Sodom and Gomorrah and the pillar of salt of Lot's wife. Oh, they're still here today. Even in the time of Josephus, he talks about it. We have the ruins or the remains of Nineveh. We have the ruins and the remains of Babylon. And these two cities come from who? Nimrod. Like I said, when you understand the old, you will understand the new. You will understand the what was, the what is, and the what yet to come. Let us go on. You will also understand the image of Nebuchadnezzar. Okay? We also have the ruins of Tyre. The reason why I mentioned Tyre, Tyre was known as the city of merchants. That's where everybody loved to go what? Buy and sell. But the reason why he commanded the Israelites not to buy and sell on certain holy days, sorry, not to buy and sell on his holy days, buying and selling will bring forth sin. Because when people are buying and selling, they are lying, they are adjusting the weights and making people spend more than what it is. Also, you will have coveting. Do y'all see? Even the Apocrypha talks about the buying and selling. So the Father is preparing us, those who partake in the Sabbath and the holy days. We understand we are not to buy and sell on those days. So that is what prepping us on what this Antichrist going to do. Because in the book of Revelation, in Revelation chapter 13, many of them going to take the mark because they want to what? Buy and sell. It's all dealing with what? The market, the economics, the commerce. Look at now what's going on with the United States with commerce, the buying and selling. Mhm, mhm. But because we are prepping, we know how to go without the buying and selling. We know our Father's going to provide for us, and He's going to give us the knowledge on how to make something, or how to find food, or how to grow food without the buying and selling. Y'all see how deep this goes, okay? So on a V16, that barley harvest represent the resurrection of the Messiah and the saints who are the most holies that shall go to what? Paradise. And they shall live in the new Jerusalem, which is the Father house. So they are closest to the Father. That's why they are called the most holies. Now, Israel will be given back their land and they will live surrounding the house. They represent the sanctuary, for they are the most high holy people. When you get a chance, read Ezekiel chapter 40 to 48. And on the channel, we did a reading of each chapter. That is a future prophecy to give you the understanding of what's to come and what you shall inherit it. Okay? But the first thing first, if you don't receive Messiah, you cannot produce the 9 fruits of the Spirit. Do you hear that? If you don't receive Messiah, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. So he is the key to the kingdom of heaven. Okay? That's on. Then the second witness we have is the manna. Remember, there was a remnant of the manna that was kept in the ark to help you understand John chapter 6. Not only shall you eat the bread of the earth to what? To sustain your earthly body, but you shall also have a spiritual bread that lives in you that shall feed your soul. Okay? And that spiritual bread is the Word, and the Word is Yahusha HaMashiach. That's why we are a part of his body. Isn't it amazing that he can live in each and every one of us? That's why he said that he has to what? Return and go before his Father. If not, the Comforter cannot come. And that Comforter is his Spirit. Gave y'all another mystery in Revelation. Yeah, see how deep this go. This is why he said, I'm with you always to the end of this world. He has always been there. The Romans chapter 10 and Deuteronomy chapter 30 will confirm that holy seed, which is the word, has always been in our bowels, in our bellies. But it was dead, dormant, asleep, just like our earthly seed. But it had to be revived. And it's revived through what? The baptism of the water and of the Spirit. We have to be reborn. That's what you are reviving in you. That holy word that the Father planted in our foreparents, Adam and Eve. And this is why it's written in Genesis chapter 6, verse 3. He said, my spirit shall not always strive with man. What is that spirit he's talking about? The spirit of Messiah, the spirit of Christ shall not always strive with man, for he is flesh. Because we know when our parents took a part of the tree of good and knowledge, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, it changed their bodies. It changed their covering to flesh. So they made the seed that was in them go dormant, asleep, dead. So that word had to be revived in us. So that's why we have to be in the new covenant with Messiah. That's why the remnant that the Father has chose of the children of Israel, northern kingdom and southern kingdom, why they have to be grafted back to the tree, because we all have to be connected to Messiah. And through him, then they can live in us. The Father, the Son, and wisdom. Yes, wisdom is our mother, and she was there in the beginning of creation. Read Proverbs, read the book of Proverbs, and you'll find out about her, as well as the Apocrypha. For even the Messiah said that wisdom shall be justified by her children, for she too play a part in bringing forth or birthing the children of the light. And that is us, the saints, as well as Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. Do y'all see this? Another proof that Father is bringing to my attention is the book of Acts. The children of Israel rejected the spirit of the Messiah. That is your Holy Spirit right there. Mhm. We know the Father is a spirit. We know wisdom is a spirit. And we know the Son is a spirit. And even in the spirit, the Father has a body too. He has head, arms, etc. Even the Son. We got proof. It's in the Bible. In Genesis, that we were made in their image. Wow. Y'all hear that? Therefore, if we have a head, arms, legs, feet, guess what? The Father has the same, but they are in spirit. Another mystery I revealed to you. Let's keep going. And Father said you can find proof of that in Exodus 2, when Moses requests to see him. Hmm. But he in spirit. I just laugh because it feels so good to know these things. But these things are true. They are real, brothers and sisters. Also, going back to the resurrection of Eve 16, when we get to the book of Joshua, it talks about the manner. For we know the children of Israel was fed manna, and it's written in Torah, I think Leviticus 23, that once they eat the bread of that land, the manna will cease. And we know they enter in that land in springtime. How I know this, Moses was not allowed to go into the Holy Land. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. And Moses was born in the month of Adar, the 12th month. The workers Josephus will reveal this, and along with the Bible. For we know that Moses was 80 years old when he faced Pharaoh, and he saw the hidden one in Pharaoh that was Satan the dragon. And how I know this is written in Hebrews chapter 11. He saw the invisible one. And we also know that it was in the wilderness for 40 years. Numbers chapter 5, I think. No, Numbers, not Numbers chapter 5. It's another chapter. But the book of Numbers will reveal unto you in that second year out of Egypt, that's when they rebel and disobey the Father and not go into the Holy Land. And because of that, the Father told them they will remain in the wilderness for 40 years. So we add 40 years to Moses' age. He was 120 years old. And how I also know about Moses' age, when I studied the biblical events in Exodus dealing with the plagues that came upon Egypt, that's how I knew that Moses was 80 years old and he was born in the month of Adar. And it started in the month of Adar when he went it before Pharaoh. Okay. So they came out, when we add the days starting Adar first, that's when Moses was born, to Aviv 15th, because they came out in the evening time from Egypt. When you add them days together, because remember in their time, each month was 30 days. But the Enoch give the biblical formula to explain why we have the 29.5 days that even the Gentiles recognize when you begin to study the heavens. It was a total of 45 days. And who is number 45 in the White House? Who's now 47? Hmm. There are many antichrists, many, and he's one of the many. Okay, but let's keep going. 45 has a representation, it means something. It means deliverance, freedom, liberty to worship Yah in the way that he wanted to be worshiped. He saw his children in the pit and he brought them out on the Sabbath day. Just like it's written in Torah, well, in the gospel, I think, if you have a sheep or animal in a pit or in a hole or a ditch, won't you to get them out of the pit or hole and ditch on the Sabbath day? Because the prophets give us the mystery. We are to do good in the sight of our Father. So there is some gray areas that we have to learn about of what is holy and righteous to do on these holy days. Go back and study the gospel along with the first covenant, and you will get so much of a greater understanding because the prophets are the extension of Torah. Let's keep going. So the manner, so this is how I know they enter into the Holy Land in spring because they mourn over Moses, for 30 days. That's another reason I know. It began on Adar first, and that's when he was born. And after they mourn over him on Aviv first, was it Aviv first? I can't remember, but I do know that a shadow of doubt, when they entered that Holy Land, it was in spring, and it was Aviv. It was in the month of Aviv because that's when they kept the first Passover. And when they kept that first Passover, the manna ceased. And the manna that was given to them, that bread of heaven that was given to them, ceased on Aviv 16. Hmm. And it represents the Messiah returning back to the heavens, sitting on his right hand, letting his Father know he completed the work that he sent him to do. And that work is this: first, to give the gospel. Gospel means what? Good news. So, what is the good news that the Messiah was preaching unto us? It is that it is that the kingdom of heaven is coming. Go back and read and understand what the Messiah is saying. He gave us many parables to understand this biblical prophecy, helping you to understand the book of Revelation. He was preaching that the kingdom of heaven is coming. And either you're going to receive the highest inheritance or the lowest inheritance. He said that there'll be those in his kingdom that would be called what? The greatest or the least. Matthew 5. Revelations confirm unto us that we will be judged by our what? Heart, faith, and works. Because it's always been a heart condition, not only with Israel, the Jews, but with mankind, Adam. Go back and read Genesis 6. Their heart has always been wicked. They have always what? Listened to Satan. And that's who they was in covenant with. Okay? Go back and look at these things. Because these things are a witness unto us, a testimony to us. Father, I need to correct what I said about Tyree. Tyree is the merchant of merchants. That was the place of the buying and selling. So who is the merchant of merchants today? That the Father mentioned in Revelation 18 that he will bring down and destroy. It is the United States of America. I had learned that in order for other countries to trade or buy and sell, they had to trade or buy and sell in the American dollar. So they had to convert their money to the American dollar in order to buy and sell. Don't all nations look at this place as the city of gold? You know, they look at this place as the abundance where you can eat what you want. I mean, eat abundantly. Because a lot of places have what? Buffet. That's why we fat over here. The place of abundance, the place of having, the place of what? Liberty and freedom to worship whom you want to worship. Study that Constitution. How state and church are separated, and now we see why. Because the Father do not want anyone to come unto him by force. He wants you to come into his a new covenant that his son made for us by free will. Mm, mm, mm. So that manna that ceased in the spring, in the month of Aviv, on Aviv 16, in the days of Joshua, represent the Messiah returning back to heaven, showing the Father his complete work. And that complete work was the sheep offering. And the sheep offering is the saints that he had to deliver out of Sheol, the place of captivity, the place that the Father made for the angels to be. That's in the center of the earth. That's it. That is the heart of this earth. That's where hell is. That place. But the righteous could not ascend to paradise until the second Adam anew the covenant. And we know in order for sins to be forgiven, blood must spill. Go back to your Torah. Leviticus chapter 16 and 17. The debt, which is sin, the payment for the debt is blood. This is why he had the children of Israel to sacrifice animals unto him to symbolize, to represent that the Messiah must shed his blood in order for us to be atoned. Because we have what? Feast of Atonement in the 7th month. Why? The 7th month represent the first and the last, the Alpha and Omega, the Aleph and Tav, speaking English, Greek, and Hebrew unto you. That was the only way we could be restored back to our first estate, which is Adam, not being covered in flesh, but being covered in that divine glory. That was the only way that seed that went dormant in us could be revived and awakened and to become a lamp unto our feet and to become the eye and the light of our body, which align with First John chapter 2, verse 27. We are no longer taught by the flesh now. We are taught by the Spirit. Therefore, we must walk by the Spirit. Mysteries that are given unto you. So we are judged by our heart, faith, and works. And fathers want me to elaborate more on that. The heart is dealing with your belly. Either you're going to be in covenant, either your soul going to be covenant or married or joined to Spirit of Messiah, which is the Comforter, which is the Spirit of God, or either you're going to be joined with the children, with Satan. First John chapter 3. And then with faith, faith means to obey, to trust, and believe. Because whatever the Father instruct you to do now, it's not going to make worldly sense or a world logical reason. It's going to be in the opposite. But you are being tested to see, do you really have the faith? Because a lot of times you're going to find yourself walking alone, not in the majority, but alone. And when you do, that's how you know. But even the prophets had to walk alone. Look at Elijah. Jezebel was trying to kill him. She slaughtered, she murdered most of the prophets of Yah. And that's why Elijah said, is it only me? There are times you're going to have to walk alone in whatever the Father commands you to do. And the majority is not going to understand and not going to receive it because they are operating in the flesh and not in the spirit, which is your spirit man that lives in your belly, which is the seed, which is the word, which is the comforter, which is the spirit of God, which is the spirit of Yah, which is the spirit of Messiah. That's why it's written in Torah, not Torah. That's why it's written in the old covenant or the first covenant. Obedience is better than sacrifice. What does it profit to offer a sacrifice unto Yah? I'm speaking unto the Jews because we understand more about these sacrifices. What does it offer to offer when you have disobeyed God and not kept his commandments? And because you have done that, your sacrifice is in vain. This is why obedience is better than sacrifice. That's why our Father in heaven compare disobedience, and it's another thing he compare to witchcraft and sorcery. Because when you disobey him and you don't listen to him, it's just as better as you have just has served Satan yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying, y'all? When you disobey him and don't take heed to what he's saying, and don't take heed to what his servants had came before you to warn you or to admonish you, okay? And you don't take heed to all of that, You might as well have just worshiped Satan. You might as well have been a witch or a what they call warlock or servants of the darkness because that's what you are unto him. You have now become a child of Satan because a child of the light will obey the Father, the Son, and his Holy Spirit, which is the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay? A child of light does that. But when you don't, you now have made yourself a child of darkness. Okay? So that manna represent him going back to heaven. So when he resurrected. Now remember I told you how important the phases of the day to understand. When you see the beginning of the daylight, you will see light coming first in the heaven, and this does not come by the sun. To have more understanding what that represent in the spiritual realm, there are a ton of videos that's dealing with the secrets and revelations of our Father Counter. You can watch that on the channel. But first come the light in the heaven that does not come from the sun. Okay, I want you to know that. And that's when he rose. Because by the time Mary, I think Magdalene was her name, or Mary got to the tomb, he was already risen. So at V14, we have what? Night and daylight. At V15, we have what? Night and daylight. And at V16, we have night and him rising in the daylight. And this is why the prophet Hosea said that he will rise or resurrect on the third day. In the English translation, when you're dealing with the Greek to English in the New Testament, some would say in the third day or after the third day, but the prophets have the answer. And the prophet Hosea, because that's translated from Hebrew to English, the prophet Hosea said he rose on the third day in the daylight phase of the day. Because when we go back to Torah, the day consists of what? Morning and night. Morning represent daylight. I'm sorry, morning and evening. Morning represent daylight, and evening represent night. Do you see now how he walk on the whole Bible book? So when he resurrected in the dawn phase before the rising of the sun, because Mary didn't get there until at the rising of the sun, and he was gone. And this is and when he and when the Messiah allowed her to see him, this is why he told her, "Do not touch me," because he was holy, he was sanctified, he was cleansed, and he was going before the Holy of Holies. He was going before his Father to tell him he had completed the work. That is Yod, YOD, number 10, completion, representing what the 10th level of heaven, completion, representing the hand, how his body was spread on the cross, the tree, in the form of what? Yod, the Y. Hands stretched out wide, and his body coming down, feet nailed together, represent the Yah. Let us know upon the cross, the work is complete and it is done. Hallelujah, Father. Hallelujah. Mm. That's how I know it's a cross. But people want to argue about that. But history will show you that the Romans, when they crucify people, they put them on a cross, and that cross was made from a tree. And when you go in history, Deuteronomy 28, did he not warn the children of Israel, you're going to worship a cross? and a stone. And who come in that cross and the stone? Roman Christianity or Roman Catholics and Islam. Okay, children of Ishmael and whoever convert to Islam, their followers, forcing their religion upon the children of Israel and many others. I have the book of Mary Magdalene, and I was reading that book. It was a community of people who saved her testimony because the Roman Catholics was going around destroying sacred books. Why? They didn't want the truth to come out. Remember what I shared y'all about the mystery on how they are ruling today? How is the Roman Empire ruling today? Through religion. They don't have to fight through religion. That's how you can control the world. But let's keep going. So in the book of Joshua, it is the second witness to confirm that the Messiah resurrected on the V 16th. It is also to confirm unto us that the sheep weight offering was offered on that day. And those two things represent what took place with the Messiah and the saints on the V 16th. For there arose in the daylight before the rising of the sun, completing the prophecy of what the prophet said about the Messiah, how he would be in the heart or the center of the earth, which is hell, Sheol, for 3 daylights and 3 nights. It's not dealing with 24 hours, it's dealing with the phases of the day. And many don't talk about how he set the captives free and how there was a change now. So when the righteous die, they no longer have to go to Abraham's bosom that was in the heart of the earth. Now they can go to or ascend to paradise that's in the heavens, the third heavens, where the tree of life is. But the unrighteous will go straight to hell and be tormented night and day by those angels, demons, devils, spirits, awaiting for the final judgment, which is the eternal death, the lake of fire. Ain't that something? You die at earthly death, and you know death is painful. And some people may be blessed not to experience the pain like the righteous. So you die earthly death, which is painful, speaking to the unrighteous. Then you go to a spiritual death in hell and be tormented night and day and have no peace. This is why the word said those who take the mark will be damned, and they will not have no rest whatsoever. And they will be tormented night and day because they didn't believe the truth. They believe a lie. In other words, they rather believe a lie than the truth. They rather worship Satan than to be married or be in covenant with Messiah. So that is their punishment. He gave them to their father, the devil. For the devil is the father of lies, and he's the father of murderers. Who do you think convinced Cain to kill his brother? And this is why the elites, the Illuminati, have that ritual. Anyway, blood sacrifice. Hmm. Let's see. What were we talking about before I got off track? It's gonna come to me. Can somebody remind me what I was speaking before? It done left my mind that quick. Mm, mm, mm. Let me see, y'all. I was talking about why nobody's preaching about these things. Because as you see, everything's lining up. And this is why he told Mary not to touch him. He had to present that sheepway offering. And him leaving and returning unto his father represent the manner ceasing. Wow. Do y'all see what I see and hear what I hear? So Father is letting me know, if you don't study the whole volume of the book, because this is why the Messiah said, I come in the whole volume of the book. And this is why we should not worship the cross, because he lives in us. So the power is not the cross. The power is the one who live in you, in your bellies. This is why he put the curse upon the children of Israel, because they was responsible for crucifying him. And he was innocent. And they put a curse upon not only them, but upon their children's children. Because they told Pontius Pilate, put his blood upon our heads and his children's head. This is why, according to the prophets, there would be no brotherhood between northern kingdom and southern kingdom. The only way we can have brotherhood if we come in Messiah. It is Messiah who unify all of us, whether you are an Israelite or Gentile. And through him, we are family. And this is why our brothers and sisters who are not Israelites have a right to partake in the inheritance of the kingdom of heaven. Even when the earth will be ruled in righteousness, it is written by the prophet Ezekiel that the stranger that dwell with the children of Israel in the earth now. That's what I'm talking about. Because remember, there's two remnants. You have heaven, you have earth. But in the earth, the strangers too will be given an inheritance. And I think it's land, but I had to go back and read it. Along with the children of Israel in the land of Israel. Because that land was originally given to Shem, but the children of Canaan disobeyed and dwell in that land. And this is why most of them have been rooted out of the earth. And soon the Amorites is going to be taken out the earth. So for me, I wear the menorah not to worship, but to remind people when I'm out and about, to remind people what the menorah stand for. Because in the book of Revelation, we learn that the menorah has several representations. The first the first representation that's made in the book of Revelation, it represents the seven churches of Asia. And it's very important that we go study these seven churches. And you're going to see why in the playlist that the Father had me to reveal unto you, dealing with what is coming in these last days. That's what it is. So this menorah represents the seven churches of Asia, which is modern day Turkey. And I'm not going to give that hidden piece yet, because it's going to be revealed in the second video, or why you need to study about the seven churches of Asia, which is modern day Turkey. Okay. Also, the menorah represent what is in Revelation 11. We have two olive trees and we have two candlesticks. And anytime you see the word candlesticks, remember, it has nothing to do with Europeans. This has to do with Hebrews, Jews. When you see candlestick, it's talking about the menorah. Zechariah will confirm it unto you in chapter 4 and chapter 11. That is the precepts to understand the two olive trees and the two menorahs. You even can go back to Torah to understand the menorahs. Notice that the menorah has 7 branches. It represents a week, Sabbaton. It represents, some say completions too. It represents sanctification. Go back to Genesis chapter 2. 7 is a sanctified number. It is holy and it is perfected. Matter of fact, we're in the second week from creation, and soon the seventh day of the second week is coming to an end. In other words, we'll be coming into Sabbath soon. Okay. So in Revelation chapter 11, the 2 menorahs represent northern kingdom and southern kingdom. That's what Ezekiel was talking about, I think, in chapter 37, how the 2 sticks would come together and be one kingdom, and that kingdom will be under the Messiah. Okay. So the order of things would be our Father in heaven, and his counsel would be wisdom. Under him would be his son, for his son received all instructions and commandments from his father. And then under him are the saints and the angels. Then under the angels and the saints in the earth come Israel. And then under Israel come the Gentile nations that too are living in their own lands. And in the eternal kingdom, this is where you're going to have heaven to meet the earth, because our Father going to live or dwell amongst mankind. And the place that he's going to have his house will be in the land of Jerusalem. And when these holy days come, that's why it's written by the prophet Isaiah, all flesh will come to worship him on the Sabbath days and new moon days, etc. We will all partake in the holy feasts, and the Gentiles will come and make their journeys to the new Jerusalem. Do y'all see how this all works out? This is why I wear the menorah, not to worship it, not to grasp it like, oh my goodness, no. When I see evil going on, I learn how to tap in my power now. It's the belly. That's where he is. He's not in the menorah. But the menorah is to remind us of the prophetic things that is coming to place. I also want to share this with you, and we're going to end soon because I know this has been a long live. One of my mothers in the faith, because like I said, I have many mothers, many fathers. I mean, I have many families in this faith, in the faith, and they are Israelites and Gentiles. That Father has allowed to come in my path, and they are my family. Okay. One of my mothers had a dream about me because she was very worried about me, and that was in the time, I think, 2018, 2019. And the Lord had answered her prayer in a dream. And she said, first she saw the menorah, and then she saw me. And she already knew what that meant. And she knew I was okay. So as we look at the we looked at both. We looked at the crucifixion and resurrecting, and we talked about some of everything. What it all boils down to, the Messiah has commanded us to keep a remembrance of these things unto him. And we do this through spirit and through truth. That's how we worship now. For now we are offering what spiritual offerings, our songs, our praise, etc. Also loving one another, sacrificing our time, sacrificing our wealth, sacrificing whatever we have to give. Okay? It can be your time, it can be your labors, it can be whatever. All these are sacrifices unto the Lord as a sweet, favorable smell unto him. We are now worshiping in spirit and truth. So we keep these things in remembrance. And what they call communion is Passover, reminding us what we have partaken and what we have become and what we will become in the renewed generation. Just as that seed died, so life can come forth, and what come forth is in a new body. That's regeneration. What has come forth, what has come forth in a new body, that is regeneration. Because when you look at that seed, or you look at that plant or that tree, it looks entirely different from the seed. It's what? It's in a new body now. The same is with us. Okay? Just what took place in the body harvest, they resurrected in body, soul, and spirit, and this is why they cannot find their bodies. Okay? The same would be in the wheat harvest for the saints and the 144. We be erected in body, soul, and spirit, given our garments of righteousness, because we have another part to play in Revelations. Okay. As for the second way low, that's northern kingdom and southern kingdom. Soon they become one stick, and they would too be grafted into the olive tree. For the olive tree bear the root, and that root is Messiah. So they too will be in covenant with Messiah. And therefore they'll be given back their lands and etc. But they have another part to play in the book of Revelations. Okay. And what the Father is warning and want me to warn you by us remembering Passover and Resurrection Day, it is to remind you that we are in the wheat harvest and the wheat is ripening and be ready for the harvest. It is time to get your house in order. And not only yourself, it is time for us to go out there in the field, in the world, warning the children of Adam, the children of Noah, letting them know it is time to come in because we can see the signs in the heaven and the earth. That is our due diligence. We are to preach the gospel night and day. And do not allow evil to distract you because evil wants you to get frustrated. Evil wants you to give up, but not so. He that live in us will help us to overcome. Learn how to tap into your power and your authority. We can pray, we can fast, we can meditate. And you know our Father will honor our prayers. It is so powerful that the kingdom of darkness cannot come against us. No witch, no warlock, no other power of darkness can stand against us. Learn how to tap into it. Learn how to anoint some olive oil and anoint things. Learn about salt because salt represents the word and nothing can prevail against salt. Learn the earthly things about salt, then you'll understand the spirit thing of the salt. And that salt is what? The word. Do y'all see what I'm saying? But anyway, I had said enough in this video for this time. But according to Father Will, I will be back. Father Will now. And we're going to dive in some more into these revelations and mysteries. But remember this, for the dates and for the answers for your questions, as well as to understand the mysteries, you have to come in both the heaven and the earth, the first covenant and the second covenant. And when you come in both, in this wholeness, you're going to begin to understand the what is, the what was, and what is yet to come. And you're going to have the answer to your questions. You're going to get the biblical dates, and you're going to see how everything that was done in the first covenant align what's in the second covenant. For they too bear witness to each other, just like the Son bear witness to the Father, and the Father bear witness to the Son, and the same is with the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. All three bear witness to each other. If you have not received salvation today, follow the instruction in Romans chapter 10. And after you follow those instructions, get yourself baptized. If you have no pastor, no apostle, righteous ones to do that, you can baptize yourself. This is where you operate your faith with works. Because in the New Testament, you're going to learn through the Saint John. Saint John, 'cause he wrote other writings too in the New Testament. You're going to learn through him that the water is the second witness in the earth. So that's your witness right there. And the earth can also, as well as the heaven, can testify on your behalf to the Father that you had came into the covenant. Because the reason why we partake in the water baptism, it is to represent we are being cleansed by the word. And because we're being cleansed by the word, we are putting the old man, like your old self, to death. We're crucifying that. So when you get up, you become what? A new man or a new woman, because now you are walking by the Spirit and not by the flesh. Hallelujah. Oh, thank you. Thank you to the one who just commented. Oh, so you can baptize yourself just like the Egyptian, not the Egyptian, that's gonna come to my mind, the Ethiopian eunuch. He said, where there's water, ye shall be baptized. So we got lakes, we have ponds, we have rivers, we have oceans, we have seas, etc. And we have what? Swimming pools, we have the bathtubs. There is no excuse. Come in here where you can have time. And the same is with the Holy Spirit baptism. If you have no apostle or where no righteous apostle near you to give you the Holy Spirit baptism, no problem. Father got you covered. Right? All you have to do is ask in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, and he would give you the Holy Spirit baptism, for we must be born of the water and of the Spirit. And we know the earthly component of the Spirit is what? Blood. Anyway, I don't want to go in a different direction, but we must be born again, y'all. And you see why. We got to be regenerated. Just like the seed. As you look at the phases of the season, spring, summer, fall, and winter. After winter, it's time to be revived, and it's time to come in a new vessel, a new body, because you can't go into you cannot go into the kingdom of heaven in your flesh. You cannot do that because the flesh happened because of sin. That's why we cover in flesh, because of sin. And because of that, the flesh do not want to submit itself to God and to his Messiah. Do y'all see that? This is why Paul said we have that inner war. And this is why you have to feed your spirit man daily. Remember the Father prayer, give us all our daily bread. You know, I can't remember exactly where I had to say the prayer from beginning to end. But not only are you praying for earthly bread, okay, to sustain your body and maintain your body, we are also praying for the heavenly bread because our spirit man that the Father implanted in us, that seed, has to be strengthened on a daily basis to overcome the flesh. Because the flesh desires sinful things such as fornication, being with mankind of his same, lying, stealing, committing adultery. That's the wants and the desire of the flesh. So this is why you have to partake in the new covenant. And when you do that, you become a part of his body. You become his bride. You become the temple, okay, of Yahuwah. You become the house. You become the ark, which makes you holy, perfect, or perfected, without spot or wrinkle in our Father's eyes. So if you want to receive that Holy Spirit baptism, ask in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, and my Father will give it unto you according to your heart, your faith, and your works. And works is your life doings. What did you do here while you live in this realm before you gave up the breath? Or what did you do here before the coming of the Messiah with the Father's kingdom? What did you do? How did you live your life here? That's what works is, your life doings. That's what the 1611 taught me, y'all. I tell you, Father been teaching me some things, and I want to share with y'all too, so you can know it too. But come in and follow those examples. It's so easy. And once you follow the example and you submit yourself unto the Spirit of God, which is the Spirit of Messiah, you shall be saved. As long as you are obedient, as long as you are faithful, as long as your heart is right and producing the nine fruits of the Spirit, and as long as your works align up to your heart and your faith. In other words, your work's going to reflect on what's in your heart and what kind of faith you have. Love you all, and I said enough. Shalom.